You're still watching All Angles with myself, uMkhonto Mabalane. Now, uMkhonto Sizwe is marking its 60th anniversary today. Deputy ANC President David Mabuza will address the celebration at Freedom Park. The party's armed wing was formed on the 16th of December back in 1961. Our reporter Pule Lishwiti Jones is at that event and joins us now for more. Pule, when we spoke a bit earlier, people were still trickling in. Is the venue any fuller now?
Well, not yet, uMkhonto, and we understand that amongst other guests who are expected to be here, of course, is the ANC Veterans League President Snuki Zikalala, joined as well by the ANC Women's League President Batabile Dlamini. But also joining me here is, of course, former Major General of the South African National Defence Force, Mr. Keith Mokwape. Also as a committee member that were part of those preparing for this conference to happen. Ntata, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon on ENCA. Now, if you could just take us through what the preparations were like and what is the significance of this event.
Thank you very much, Pule. Not the preparation of the conference, but the preparation of this day. Today we are commemorating 60 years of the formation of uMkhonto with Sizwe. And we are having amongst us the surviving, those who are still alive, who were able to come to join us. The number has been reduced to just under 50 of the original 494 MK members in 1963, 62, 61. And today they are frail, some bedridden, but we've managed to get just above 20 to physically be with us here. And the Deputy President will be giving them medals of honor that they have seen the 60 years for having been there at the beginning to now. That's the purpose of today. And there's been a committee that's been preparing for this with all COVID protocols observed.
Correct. Now, one would say this indeed is a very prestigious event and day, of course, of recognizing excellence as well. But furthermore, this journey has been paved and muddied by a lot of conflicts, disagreements, and of course, factions within them. Are these some of the issues that you are looking into? We've witnessed other disgruntled members of our military veterans who had held ministers against their own will, demanding things such as housing and, of course, COVID-19 grants. Are these some of the issues that you're looking into as well?
Well, let me say to you that when MK was formed in 1961, it was when the Congress movement, now we've got to understand the Congress movement. The Congress movement were the African National Congress, the trade union movement, the Democrats of all hues in the country, who in 1955 had come together and chartered the Freedom Charter to say South Africa is ruled by a regime that is anti-people. Now, out of that, in 1960, after the Sharpeville massacre, it was clear that we can only, with arms in hand, overthrow the government. So, right from the beginning, it has not been easy. First of all, because Africans were not allowed to get into the military, how were we going to face the National Defence Force, the apartheid state force, with bare hands? So very quickly, the organization realized that we must seek assistance from outside countries. So people left the country for training. Thereafter, it was very difficult to come back. Now, in that sense, such difficulties of some saying we can cross the Zambezi and we can fight through Rhodesia, or we can pass quietly through Rhodesia, which was ruled by a minority regime, etc. Difficulties ensued, and people have always had different opinions. But different opinions do not necessarily mean the destruction of the Congress movement, of the ANC, or even of uMkhonto with Sizwe. So our coming back was very difficult, that demobilization. Some were saying, what if the Boers turn around and say no longer negotiation? Some were saying, no, they mean well. And those debates, you must have heard some of the extracts from Chris Hani, where he was saying we were in a rush. Now, we haven't in South Africa placed the veterans in a befitting situation where we say, what is it that is expected out of a veteran, and what is it that the nation can give to a veteran? And it is to that extent that some people think, oh, the country owes us. And yet all of us were volunteers, right? All of us didn't expect anything except the freedom of our people. So this will come to pass.
At the very same time, these are promises that have been made by government to say, we will take your best interest into heart and we'll look after you as well.
Well, you see, the government ought to be saying, you veterans, what is it that you can do so that with us, government, can meet your expectations? It is completely wrong to expect that the veterans will sit back and say the taxpayer will do everything for us. There are quite a number of things that the veterans can do in nation building, in promoting cohesion. And one of our themes here is that veterans must first of all create cohesion within the ranks of MK. If MK veterans are not organized, the rest of the veterans in the country will not. The white veterans of the SADF, of the liberation movements of APLA, Azanla, etc. So it's important that MK be a cohesive unit and then say, how do we contribute to nation building? In the course of doing nation building, we can then say, what are the benefits that we can get in that process?
Thank you very much. I'm running out of time, but we'll catch up later and have a conversation about this, uMkhonto, as it is right now. We just spoke to the former general of the SNDF, Dade Keith Bukwape, just outlining some of those issues that still have to be ventilated, but most importantly, what the directive in terms of this program will seek to achieve towards the end of today as well as the day unfolds.